Hi guys, and welcome back to the Tommy Atomic channel. This is the way the world really works. Joe Rogan. Now, Joe Rogan has made headlines recently for what you're about to see. He claimed that Australia was going to ban growing its own food, ban people from growing their own food, and then quickly shut himself down and realised he was a little bit wrong about what he said. So we're going to just quickly analyse what Joe said, and I'm going to show you how he's not exactly 100% wrong about what he's saying. Now, he was wrong about banning food, but he said that for a reason, okay? And we'll have a look at why he said that, okay? So let's take a look at the clip now.
The part of Australia, I think it was New South Wales, someone was trying to pass a law that won't allow you to grow your own food. And they were saying, well, you could grow your own food, and what if the disease is from your food? It infects the population, kills us all. We can't have that.
They pulled that.
They got a good grip on people during the pandemic. They locked everybody down in Australia, and then you know what? We're going to stop these motherfuckers from growing their own food. Because that's how you fucking smoke out an anti-vaxxer.
Yeah.
You can't even go to the grocery store anymore, and you can't grow your food.
No, dependent.
Take that shot, bitch.
Close. New Zealand is like right around.
Okay, so I've just mentioned New Zealand very briefly there, and that's very, very interesting, because when they're looking for proof on this, they're looking through the internet everywhere, and Jamie's looking on the internet, and all you can find is stuff about New Zealand, stuff similar about New Zealand. I don't know why. I haven't looked into that yet. But I found that very, very interesting about what's going on there and why that comes up in a search in relation to banning people from growing their own food. But the search is about Australia, so let's just stick to the topic here, and we'll look at New Zealand a bit later. But yeah, that was very interesting about that, so let's keep going.
It's got to be a real thing. It seems too good to not be.
It's obviously.
I typed in outlaw growing food in Australia, and not a single thing comes up.
Hold on.
Except for that, which was a false thing.
Growing your own food.
They want us completely dependent.
Yeah, I can't.
So yeah, that's where we'll stop it there. So what's happened is that they've looked it up everywhere on the internet and they can't find it. All they could find was stuff relating to New Zealand, and everything else saying it was fake news. So basically, as soon as he made that statement, even though he's quickly shut himself down, saying that he couldn't find the right information, he must be wrong. Every news outlet in the world and every fact checker in the world jumped all over it to fact check his statement to prove him being wrong. Now, he already said that he must have been wrong, so he didn't need to be corrected. He did correct himself. Okay, it all happened within two minutes there. So he made a wrong statement and then said he must have got it wrong. So he's not going out there claiming this whole scale and being willy-nilly about it. He just heard something or misread something the wrong way, and he's just taken it to the extreme. Okay, now, every fact checker in the world says this. False. The bill does not outlaw people from growing their own food per se. And to use it to do so would be practically and politically impossible. It would be impossible because the people would just take to the streets with pitchforks and lynch the government overnight. If they banned people from outright growing any food of their own, and they all had to be bought from commercial places, the people would riot, okay? Because food is like a human right, and everybody sort of has the right to grow their own food, okay? It's sort of like breathing and water, and even the right to a home and a place to live. This is why we have public housing in Australia, and we have welfare and social security services, because people have rights to human rights behind living. And one of those living things is being able to grow your own food, even hunt for your own food on free land and stuff like that, which is why hunting is legal in just about every country of the world, and growing your own food is legal in just about every country of the world. It'd be very, very hard to ban it outright overnight. But what he has got this from is that Victoria, and that's another thing he got wrong, he said New South Wales. This isn't about New South Wales, it's about Victoria. They just passed a new bill called the Agriculture Legislation Amendment Bill of 2022. Now, this bill is massive, okay? It's 180 pages worth of bill here. I'll just quickly scroll right down to the bottom of this list. There's 183 pages, and it won't get repealed until 2024. So a couple of years from now, it'll take a while before this goes away, and by then they won't repeal the bill. They will just amend it again. Like this one is an amendment. They will just amend it again in a few years' time and make it more modern all over again. They say 2 years, but they probably won't get it repealed for another decade. Like this act is addressing things that are several decades old already, from the 80s and I think even the late 70s. But yeah, so when you go back to the top of the bill here, there's 206 different sections to this bill. It's quite an amazing bill. Is like most legislation bills, it's huge, and it is a bill for an act to amend the Agricultural and Veterinary Chemicals Control of Use Act, the Cashman and Land Protection Act, the Dairy Act, the Drugs, Poisons and Controlled Substances, Farm Debt Mediation, Livestock Disease Control, the Plant Biosecurity Act, which is the important one, Rural Assistance Schemes Act, Veterinary Practice Wildlife Act, and the Meat Industry Act. So a lot of this is just about addressing these bills they made decades ago and updating them to the modern era. I'm going to skip ahead just a tiny little bit to the Plant Biosecurity Act. It's near the top. It's not buried hundreds of pages down. It's within the first couple of pages, okay? And it says to amend the Plant Biosecurity Act of 2010 in relation to assurance certificates, plant health certificates, plant health declarations, the sale of diseased plants, the detention and seizure of plant and plant products, border security, and fees and charges for beehives, and blah, blah, blah. So the important part about this is the section where it says the detention and seizure of plant and plant products. Because what that gives them the power to do is enter any property that they deem necessary under the Biosecurity Act to seize plants and material from your property under the Biosecurity Act. Now, the Biosecurity Act is very important for states and territories, and even indeed countries anywhere around the world. And all countries around the world will have this legislation and have these acts from state to state and territory to territory within their respective countries to keep their country's biosecurity safe. Otherwise, you can import disease very, very easily, and that's just not a good thing to do. You can decimate the agricultural industry overnight, and it would just ruin a country very, very quickly. So they have to have these acts in place, and the most important part of that is the Plant Biosecurity Act, because this is where most diseases and stuff gets introduced into Australia. It's through the import of plant and plant material. Even though you can import nearly any seed into Australia, it's not hard to do so, and you can just grow just about anything you want in this country. So yeah, this is why they have these acts in place, is to keep our biosecurity under control. So they do need these things in place, but what these things do is give them the power and the authority to regulate the way we grow our food and raise livestock, and to also, so it does give them that power, and it also gives them the power to remove certain stuff if they need to. I'm sorry about the glitching in the audio, folks. I'm having a lot of issues making this video. But let's plow on. So the thing is that Australia does have certain authority that they can enact to ban people from growing certain food or all food if they really deem necessary. They haven't done so at the moment, but this act is just tightening up those measures that they have in place already. And they have done this before in the past, as in banning Australians from growing certain types of food, several times in our nation's history due to biosecurity crises that we've had of imported contaminants. The most recent one being a banana disease outbreak in Queensland that got an entire other state or territory quarantine, which was the Northern Territory. Now, I can't speak exactly for what happened in Queensland, but in the Northern Territory, because we were quarantined under the Biosecurity Act of Queensland and the Northern Territory due to the banana disease outbreak, it banned any person living in the Northern Territory from growing their own bananas, and they also wanted to destroy all banana crops that we had in personalised houses in the backyards of suburban growers. I'm not sure exactly what happened to our banana industry. I'm pretty sure it was allowed to continue on, but they just wanted to get rid of it from the population so that in case the disease spread, it wasn't going to recontaminate Queensland once it got to us from Queensland. This is how ridiculous the whole situation was. We were banned because of another state, and they literally sent officers to people's houses, door to door, to destroy whatever they could find. Now, the Plant Biosecurity Act is very powerful, and they can enact it at any time, and it really does affect backyard growers. And the entire bill and legislation does affect backyard growers and does give the government tighter control over what you can grow in your backyard and how you maintain that plant growth from plant and disease, pest and disease. So Joe wasn't completely wrong and out of the realm of complete fantasy land to believe that we were going to ban our own food, even though we haven't banned growing it. He had his foot in the right direction. He wasn't completely wrong. He got this from somewhere, and that somewhere was this legislation act or bill of Victoria's that they've just voted on in Parliament over there, which just gives them tighter control over biosecurity measures and 100 other things in relation to growing food and the way you maintain and cultivate that food with pest and control measures. So yeah, the Plant Biosecurity Act is very important for governments. They do need it, and if we didn't, we would have countries just get decimated overnight. These guys weren't completely wrong to say that the government is enacting more control measures over the people, because that's what this is. It's a modernisation of stuff which only creates more control for the government over what they are legislating. And they do this every several decades or every decade or so to modernise everything so that everything keeps up with their level of control. So as time goes on, they do get more and more fascist. They really do. And we are losing bits and a little bit more freedom over what we can do and how we do it in society, which includes growing your own food. So this isn't out of the realm of complete nonsense for Joe to have stated what he said, but he wasn't completely wrong. Okay, this is where it all starts, and that is how the world really works, and that's what's going on in this situation here. Hope you found this video informative and great, and it made you think a bit more about what's going on in this country and other places, and why people jump to conclusions. If you did like the video, please subscribe, and yeah, I'll be back next time with another one very, very shortly. Okay, have fun, guys. Bye.